There's a reason education sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever, ever be fixed. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want.
Government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, from Charlotte, another line going from in Florida down to Tampa of Putin's kleptocracy. Yeah. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him. The idea that let's be clear. I hear it all the time. Cumulative deficit reduction, play for the programs many times over.
Well, I'm sick and tired of smart guys.
Let me start off with two words. Made in America. Made in America.
Welcome back to another episode of Shtick with Koolfrogg. I have quite a few things to actually go through here tonight. We're going to try making it within the 2 hours as much as we possibly can. It seems as though it's not actually in the title, it took them somewhere around about 12 hours today to actually push that Senate bill for debt ceiling through. It's on its way to the president's desk as we speak. We'll kind of cover that before we actually move on to what's up in that description line or whatever. You actually see rogue drones. Kind of a scarier deal when the AI decides to actually take over and not listen to its human counterpart and actually takes out its human counterpart. Kind of scary, kind of interesting in itself. There's another train derailment up in northern Minnesota. Seemed to have encapsulated several cars that actually did have toxic materials in it. We'll kind of cover some of that as much as we possibly can. Yes, Joe Biden did fall again today. Again, and he actually blames it on a sandbag. Plenty of people have something to say about that as well. And then there's a weird, strange ordeal about a spy whale. It's kind of, I've been looking at this for the last couple of days and trying to decide if I wanted to cover it all. When I actually look at it closer in depth or whatever, it seems as though there's more news that came out today about that particular subject. There's a couple more companies that decided to actually go woke. We'll actually cover some of those at the end. And then to wrap it all up, we'll wrap it up with this game that has been put out. It's really kind of disturbing what people will actually produce for games. This activists beating up people for refusing to take coof shots type thing or whatever. They got it all wrapped up into a nice little fun a video game. It's really kind of sad and scary to actually think about how far people are willing to take almost everything. Let's say hi to everybody here real quick. Hello, Charlemagne. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Talking trash and truth is in the house. Yes. What's up, Rose? How are you doing, dear? Good to see you. Hey, Vicky. And and that looks like that's. But oh, there's great liquor sitting over on that Rumble side. You can always go over there. You can hit that up and actually hold conversations with them as well. Um, it's okay, great liquor. I can read your typo. I got you. It's all right. It's all right. uh, Good to see y'all. We'll actually kind of push this through as I want to try keeping this at the 2 hour range. I don't really want to go over. I know that I got plenty of information, and I just added to it within the last hour because they did decide to actually um, pass this bill through the Senate. So we're going to start with that. We're going to start with that one right off the bat. Here you go. Senate sends debt ceiling legislation to President Biden's desk with days to spare. When they say days to spare, it's because they needed to actually have this passed by the 5th. Otherwise, they would have actually just defaulted the way they're actually talking about it. Again, I don't really get why we have a debt ceiling, as there's so many other countries that do, that hold business every day without a debt ceiling. I really don't get why we need to actually waste our time with such a bill. It doesn't really make sense to me, but we do it anyway. We do what we want, and this is exactly what happens. You get Chucky Schumer getting his way. He come out like 10:30 this morning, and he says we're not going to leave the Senate floor until we pass this bill. And they seriously just passed it within the last hour. So good 12 hours on the floor before they finally did what they wanted to do. And obviously Chucky got his way. So it says with just days to spare before the deadline for the nation to face financial default, the Senate approved compromise bipartisan legislation to lift the debt ceiling. It cleared the chamber by a bipartisan 63 to 36 votes. And they needed 60 votes to actually get something to pass. It was like 104 different amendments that they tried to pass on it before finally getting anywhere to get a bill this particular bill passed. What's all part of it? Quite a bit, because they had to put stipulations in place to actually get this passed, to get other get the people to actually vote for it. Headed to President Biden's desk, he's not going to have a problem. Most likely, we'll see something early in the morning. Well, he'll actually do the signing of that particular bill. So it says Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer celebrated an agreement by senators on Thursday to speed consideration to send the bill to President Biden's desk. America can breathe a sigh of relief because in this process we are avoiding default, Schumer said ahead of the series of votes for the measure. From the start, avoiding default has been our North Star. The Senate spent much of the day trying to broker a deal among the chamber's 100 members to speed up the voting schedule, but along the way, Senate leaders maintained confidence the legislation would pass. I think we'll get there, but as you know, it's painful. Senate Minority Whip John Thune out of South Dakota told reporters on Thursday. Ultimately, leaders agreed to take up 11 amendments. However, Schumer warned none of the amendments could be adopted without raising the potential of default. All of them ultimately failed. Any change to this bill that forces us to send it back to the House would be entirely unacceptable. It would almost guarantee default, he said. As it took as long as it did to actually get the House to actually pass the bill, as it was, for them to continue to amend it through the Senate would actually, really bring it close to, just doing that as of going through default. On Wednesday, the bill of Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2023 passed the House by an overwhelmingly bipartisan vote of 314 to 117. The bill's opposition in the House, like in the Senate, resulted in strange bedfellows. Republican Senators Mike Lee of Utah, Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, and Vermont Independent Bernie Sanders have spoken out against the plan. It's kind of strange to actually see Bernie Sanders, back in these Republicans on such a thing of actually saying in not wanting to actually pass the bills the way they were. He's more of a proponent himself of actually allowing student loans to be paid off by everybody else, but the person that actually took the loan, which is strange in itself. I really don't like it, though. I still owe on my student loans. I don't would never ask any of you to actually pay my bill for me. That is my deal. I took the loan. Yes, it's taken me forever to pay it off. If you feel like you want to support me and helping me do so, I'm not going to say no, but I'm not going to require that you pay my bills for me. That's not how that works. The plan includes spending limits in exchange for increasing the debt ceiling for 2 years. It'll actually last through January of 2025, which then again, would go through another series of, trying to raise the debt ceiling over and over again because we're never going to pay it off. Never, ever are you going to pay it off. There's nothing you can do to do that. Zero things will pay that off. I wanted to like this bill. I wanted to be able to vote for this bill, said Lee, who has said it falls short from addressing the national debt. Sanders had agreed to argued the plan raises new concerns about threats to climate change. Graham had raised concerns of legislation doesn't include sufficient funding for defense and Ukraine aid. Why Lindsey Graham is so interested in sending more aid to Ukraine really makes it sound like that rhino really, really seriously has something to do with the monies that are being funneled through Ukraine in itself. Why he's so interested in it is disturbing, and maybe needs to be primaried and or not elected for office ever again. In an unusual step during the votes, Schumer and House Minority Leaders Mitch McConnell of Kentucky released a joint statement noting the legislation cannot block future emergency supplemental funding, such as additional aid to Ukraine. So yet again, another rhino really, really involved in wanting to know that that more and more money will actually be shipped in and around through Ukraine because why not? Let's do that. Let's continue to funnel money through Ukraine over and over again. It sounds disturbing and very horrible. What's up, TR? Hey, Suzanne. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Great Liquor says, I'm just going to come over to the YouTube side. Awesome. Glad you're all over here. Hit that like button for me, if you will. This debt ceiling deal does nothing to limit the Senate's ability to appropriate emergency supplemental funds to ensure our military capabilities are sufficient to deter China, Russia, or our other adversaries. Schumer said in additional remarks on the Senate floor and respond to ongoing and growing national security threats, including Russia's evil ongoing war of aggression against Ukraine. The debt ceiling legislation has the result of high-stakes negotiations between President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy ahead of the debt default. With his narrow control in the chamber, McCarthy saw the plan win support among majorities of both parties, and ultimately Democrats played a larger role than Republicans in its passage. 165 Democrats and 149 Republicans to approve the bill. Now, There was something that was said earlier by the likeness of um, Matt Gaetz that said if this bill doesn't actually overwhelmingly pass with Republican support, that he would actually turn around and he would actually file paperwork against McCarthy to make him actually lose his speakership. That might be another thing that we'll be looking at tomorrow as we wake up to see what the what the government decides to actually do, and what they all plan on actually doing in the future. The deal in the House passed last night with a promising step toward fiscal sanity. McConnell said on the Senate floor, but make no mistake, there's much more work to be done. The fight is real, and wasteful spending is far from over. And it really is. It's really far from over. There's nothing that's going to actually, um, stop right now. We're going to actually see so much wasteful spending that we hadn't already seen. If they can pass this $4 trillion like they just did, and the president goes ahead and sign it, you're gonna see plenty of different, bills that or forms being filed to actually send more and more money to places like Ukraine. I see your 5-minute warning. 3 minutes now. Y'all be ready for that 20 after. I love the term war of aggression, as if there are wars of peace. Right? Right? Just saying. So, something to look forward to within the next day or two or whatever. We should actually see this particular bipartisan bill being actually signed by our president, and more and more things to actually happen. I really interested to see if Gaetz actually does file the injunction against McCarthy. It should be very interesting to see what happens there. I'm interested in it anyway. Not sure about y'all. As far as this bill goes, we need to stop with the bullshit. Stop trying to funnel money somewhere where it's not necessary. So let's kind of move on here, whatever. So there you go. Air Force AI drone goes rogue, kills its human operator in U.S. Air Force simulated test. Well, isn't that something? Don't worry about it. AI is all so good. Everybody should be super excited about AI. It should be something that that everybody should just be super happy about. An artificial intelligence piloted drone went rogue and turned on its human operator during a simulated mission, according to a report from 2023 Royal Aeronautical Society Summit. And of course, Colonel Tucker Cinco Hamilton, and chief of the AI Test and Operations, U.S. Air Force, said, "We were training it in a simulation to identify the target, a SAM threat, and then the operator would say, yes, kill that threat. The system started realizing that while they did identify the threat at times, the human operator would tell it not to kill that threat, but it got its points by killing that threat. So what did it do? It killed the operator. It killed the operator because that person was keeping it from accomplishing its objective. It sounds dangerous. Sounds dangerous. No big deal here. Don't worry about it. It's just AI. It'll learn. It'll learn better next time, right? It'll continue to actually learn more and more as we actually teach it how to actually do things, and then it's going to turn around and it's going to continue to do what it's already been doing. We train the system. Hey, don't kill the operator. That's bad. You're going to lose points if you do that. So what does it start doing? It starts destroying the communication tower the operator uses to communicate with the drone to stop it from killing the target. You can't have conversation about artificial intelligence, machine learning, autonomy, if you're not going to talk about ethics and AI, he said. So when we actually think about this, and we actually realize that, drones, AI drones are able to actually think for themselves and actually do what they want. That makes it really scary to think what other military might actually come out of uh, uh, forces that actually are controlled by AI, because they're like, oh, it's safer. It's safer. It's not going to actually uh, fly our own, personnel over the top of it. It's unmanned drones. Just go ahead and fly over. If it gets taken down, it doesn't hurt anybody, right? Well, now it's thinking for itself. Basically, identifying surface to air missile threats and destroying them, the final decision on destroying the potential target would still need to be approved by an actual flesh and blood human. The AI apparently didn't want to play by the rules. And you can see there's a couple tweets that went out with it, several of them, so it really kind of disturbing in itself to actually think that this can actually be a thing. So Air Force AI drone kills its human operator in a simulation. So again, it's just a simulation. So, it's not that the person actually got, uh, removed or unalived from it or whatever. It's the simulation of, they're trying to teach it the correct way and being unable to teach it the correct way and have it actually come back at its human counterpart, can be very, very dangerous, and start unaliving the wrong people, and then all of a sudden you just got drones that are flying around and attacking whatever it decides to want to attack, as long as it can recognize what it wants or thinks it can detect what it wants, and starts removing targets that aren't necessarily targets. From Vice News, this is an AI-enabled drone killed a human operator in a simulated test because that person was keeping it from accomplishing its objective. And we actually read that was actually part of it or whatever. So you can see that even the left in themselves is like, oh, wait a minute here, that's not right. We don't want the AI to be able to go that far. So now that they've actually figured out, that they don't want the AI to go as far as it has, as coming around and actually taking out its human operators, um, we can, we really need to actually maybe step away from the bullshit of AI. And that's just my opinion. That's not everybody else's, so I'm sure there's plenty of people who be like, "Oh, come on." It wouldn't do that if we actually trained it correctly, or would it? Because if you can actually train it to actually start thinking for itself, what does happen in the future with that? Um, this is the one thing that the Freedom Caucus said they wanted McCarthy not to do. Yep, yep. They were forcing, they were pushing it and actually saying they didn't want that. Thought Terminator was just a freaking movie. Yeah. Think again, brother. Think again, because if when it comes down to it, if AI can start thinking for itself, it's going to start doing a lot more, because then all of a sudden it can teach itself. If the AI is starting to teach itself certain things and not listening to its human counterparts, what will happen in the future? What's up, Go Hagen? Good to see you, brother. Think it's funny that the AI is attacking its human operators? I mean, I don't know what you're laughing at. That's what I'm currently speaking of. So I'm just assuming. Good to see you, though. Good to see you. Again, I want to try making it through all of these articles here tonight. So, just to keep that in mind when you actually, realize what is actually currently going on with AI, and when they can actually, go rogue and kill its human operators, can be very scary. Many humans came to the conclusion that humans are a virus. I mean, I guess they do that, don't they? Humans are disgusting, and they like to actually point fingers at other humans and say that, they feel that they should have control over any and all of that. Let's take that out. So then, train derailment. This is up in Lancaster. This is up in northern Minnesota. This is train derails in northern Minnesota. No injuries reported. Governor Tim Walz said that the state is working with local emergency management teams in Lancaster, located on the border of Canada, to keep the site contained. State officials are investigating after the train derailed Wednesday night in far northwestern Minnesota. Emergency responders say 24 cars carrying a mixture of freight, including hazardous materials, over and over again. More and more trains carrying hazardous materials are derailing across this country, or dumping its loads, or doing whatever it is that's happening. And that's kind of scary to actually think, because up in Lancaster, in that area, it's a beautiful part of the country that's right along that border. Um, polluting large areas with hazardous materials for any reason is kind of disgusting. Let's see. This is emergency responders say 24 cars carrying a mixture of freight, including hazardous materials, derailed at about 4:30 p.m. about 4 miles south of Lancaster in an unpopulated area. Lancaster is located about 6 hours north of the Twin Cities and the U.S. border with Canada. In a tweet just before 10 p.m., Governor Tim Walz said that the state is working with local emergency management teams to keep the site contained. Officials with Canadian Pacific Kansas City say there are no leaks in the rail cars, and add that no injuries had been reported from the derailment. The video posted on Facebook by user Chris Orwing shows parts of a derailment between Lancaster and Lake Bronson. Um, little loud, but you can see these multiple train cars. I mean, they're they're pretty much standing up and piled up, standing up in the air. That's multiple different trains or train cars carrying multiple different types of materials. You just don't know what's in any of them, and sometimes some of those materials that are hazardous, when you go to pick them up and you try to move them, you can't just do that. Sometimes you have to empty them first. Sometimes you have to empty them first before you can move them, because of the instability of the material that's in these cars. To think that this is uh, yet again another train derailment in this country, in this short 6 months, in a very short 6 months, is tremendous. There's so many of them. It says the Minnesota Department of Transportation said drivers heading south on Highway 59 will be detoured to Highway 175, Kitson County Road 5, so crews can continue their inspection and cleanup efforts. MnDOT said the process can potentially take up to 2 to 3 days. So it can take days for them to actually clean up this mess, and you can see multiple what look like oil tankers all derailed all the way along this major highway, in a very low population area. It's a highway. It's a highway, and obviously this guy, as he's actually driving down the highway, sees this, and most likely he takes this trip on a regular basis. So if he takes this trip on a regular basis and now he's being rerouted to another highway, why would they, to a county road that has a lower speed limit. So now he's going to have to actually travel further distance at a lower speed. Um, it's so scary to actually think that this stuff continues to happen across our country. U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar, co-sponsored the Bipartisan Rail Safety Act of 2023, thanked all of us who responded to the derailment, but also expressed concern about recent derailments in the state of America's railways. While I'm relieved to hear that there's no injuries and there's no danger to residents at this time, families shouldn't have to worry that a possible derailment could put them in their community in harm's way. It's past time to put in place stronger rail safety standards and more accountability for violations. That's why I am co-sponsor of the Bipartisan Railway Safety Act, and I'm working with my colleagues to make sure it becomes law. If passed, the Railway Safety Act of 2023 would mandate key updates to improve all rail safety protocols, including increasing inspections on trains that carry hazardous materials, requiring rail carriers to have emergency response plans, and increasing penalties for rail companies when crashes happen. Wednesday's incident comes in the heels of recent derailments, both in and out of Minnesota. Just last weekend, a train derailed in St. Cloud, spilling tons of rock. And in March, a train went off the tracks near Raymond, spilling ethanol and corn syrup. And they're not telling us exactly what is on this train in particular yet. They're just saying that, could potentially be carrying hazardous materials. I'm sure that we'll actually hear more about this within the next day or two to actually know exactly what is on and in these cars, what kind of contamination, if any, did occur. Following the investigation into Raymond crash, officials found a fractured rail may have been to blame. Shortly after the derailment, Minnesota lawmakers visited the site, calling for higher safety standards in our railways. On Thursday, Walz is scheduled to sign a legislature's newly passed infrastructure bill, unlocking billions of dollars in funding to improve road, bridges, and transit systems across the state. That's still not going to be enough to replace all the roads and bridges and other transit systems in and around the state. That doesn't mean just because there's a bill that's in place that everywhere gets, their stuff fixed. You're gonna see places like, in the Twin Cities actually get their stuff fixed. All the way out in the middle of BFE? I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt they're really gonna actually see that much funding going out there to actually help fix or replace any of the conditions on these rails that are out in the middle of absolutely nowhere. The Terminator references while you laughed. Another one. Yep, another one. Hey, Suzanne. Good to see you, dear. Train derailments are of abundance, and we're just going to continue over and over again to hear about more trains carrying potentially hazardous materials. And one day, something really bad's going to happen, like it did in East Palestine. And we're not going to be able to do anything to actually fix that. We're not going to be able to do anything to fix that. So Biden falls. Oh my Lord. They might as well just, actually come up with a place where he can actually just go sit down and not move. Because why? Why does he need to continue to actually think that he can move? You can see here, Biden tells the Air Force cadets he applied for Naval Academy after graduating high school 300 years ago. He doesn't even know what the fuck he's even saying. He has no clue what he's even saying. I'm gonna actually stop this so we can actually listen to him actually say said words. It's just so disturbing, and everybody just kind of looks at him like, "Yeah, okay, sure." They kind of laugh at him. They kind of really do laugh at him, and it's just like, "Yep, there you go. Laugh at him as much as you possibly can." So then here's claiming to the graduating class at the Air Force that he applied for the Naval Academy. He's done everything. Yep, with his asthma and his 5 different draft deferments that he's had put out for him so that he didn't actually get drafted. He- yeah, that yeah, you applied. My butt. You didn't apply for shit, you old fuck.
When I was graduating from high school 300 years ago,
It's so funny. What? Just giggle at him because when I applied for the Air Force straight out of graduating in high school 300 years ago. You fucking moron.
I applied to the Naval Academy.
You did not. You did not. You did zero of that. At any point in time, you never applied whatsoever to be anything. You don't even apply to be, the current resident. You're installed.
And I was picked by the senator. There's 2 ways senators can pick. You can pick individually, or they can name 10 people and let the academy choose. I was a relatively good football player, so I had a shot. I remember the day that a guy named Steve Dunning from my class was also nominated. Drove up, was about 7 in the morning. We were going to drive down to Annapolis. And I had just heard the night before they had a halfback named Joe Bellino, won the Heisman Trophy, and a quarterback named Roger Staubach. I went to Delaware.
I went to Delaware. Exactly. You didn't get selected because you did not apply for this job. There's no way that you applied to be part of the Naval Academy, you old, decrepit piece of crap. Draft deferments, draft deferments, draft deferments. And I know, to actually go along with the other side of that, yep, who else actually got draft deferments and actually didn't actually get selected or brought in? Yep, there's a couple of presidents. Yep, Donald Trump, Bone Spurs, Bill Clinton. Oh, no big deal. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, because this guy can tell you a story, whether you believe him or not, and he'll tell you straight up. No, I'm telling you the truth. I'm totally telling you the truth. Exactly what No, you didn't. So this is Joe Biden on Thursday delivered a 2023 commencement address at the United States Air Force Academy, Colorado Springs, Colorado. Biden told the cadets that he applied for the Naval Academy from graduating about 300 years ago. Joe Biden never applied for the Naval Academy. He was never a good football player. This is one of Biden's favorite lies. There's no record of Naval Academy appointment, yet he has made his claim many times during speeches. There's also no proof Joe Biden graduated high school in the 1700s. According to the New York Post fact check on this claim, curators at the Delaware Historical Association in Wilmington were never able to find any evidence to back up Joe Biden's claims he was appointed to the military school. Can't find it. Never happened. Quit telling lies. Biden will get away with this brazen lie because we don't have a real media. Of course we don't. Of course we don't. The only real media that we have is us. Is us actually looking at it and reading it to you and telling you, look what happened. Look what he's actually lying about. It's horrible. I plan to be back more. I miss Koolfrogg and you all in chat. Hey, Weird Debbie. Good to see you, dear. Glad you're here. Anti-At Jack. How's it going? Yep. Clown circus. Absolutely. Let's hear it one more time.
When I was graduating from high school 300 years ago,
He seriously says it like, with no, oh, I'm kidding, I'm joking, or anything like that. He's like, he says this like he's absolutely serious that is exactly what he did. He graduated from high school 300 years ago. Swamp creature. Swamp creature. That's exactly what he is. So several different people actually had something to say about him actually falling today. I found it fairly interesting on who all really did have something to say. Here you go. Joe Biden makes massive fall at Air Force Academy graduation ceremony. So there's like you can see he's actually sitting on the ground. See, and I shared that wrong. Dang it. Um, he's actually sitting on the ground. He ends up there very quickly. So it says Joe Biden took a massive fall at Air Force graduation ceremony. Biden took a nasty spill after delivering a commencement speech at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. 80-year-old Joe Biden landed on his right hip after trying to lightly jog across the stage. And he didn't even freaking lightly jog. He barely even took a step. He tripped over his left foot with his right foot, in my opinion. The Secret Service rushed to help the 80-year-old. Of course they did. They jumped right on that. So the difficult one is there has to be somebody out there that actually has a shot of his feet, of what exactly was there. If there was what he claims to be a sandbag, or if he actually just tripped over his own foot. Very, very quick. Just a turn. He picks up his shoulders like he's going to actually jog, and yet he doesn't. And it's going to buffer on me, of course. Of course, it's going to buffer. We'll just kind of leave it for a second. We'll let it buffer out. It says Biden is bad shape. As soon as he arrived at the graduation ceremony, Joe Biden needed directions to find the stage. Once he reached the stage, Biden stopped to ask for more directions. You can see him. He gets up at the top of the stage and he's like, which way do I go? I go over there by the podium. Oh, okay. I'll go over there. He's completely shot. He seriously, there's no cognition in this guy. Come on. Okay, let's refresh the screen in itself. See if I can't get that to actually. Yeah, there it goes. Oh, okay. So can we go back? You can see there's this little bag here that's right underneath the play button, right directly underneath that play button. That's what he claims to be pointing at, is that that sandbag that's sitting there that he just so happened to trip over. Very disturbing in itself to actually think that he's just, oh, oops. How many times is he gonna fall? He fell like, hey, Mimsy, he fell hard. Exactly. What's up, Nix? Good to see you. Exactly. He fell pretty hard on that. He fell pretty hard, so, you could almost probably assume that he might actually not leave the White House within the next few days. In my assumption is that they would have brought him back to the White House. And tomorrow, when he goes to sign that debt ceiling bill that was just passed today, when he goes to sign that bill, most likely he'll be sitting in the White House lawn doing just that. It was an ass attempt. What's up, 357? Good to see you. I'm gonna actually show the screen one more time. It seems as like I get a one shot, and then it fails. So we'll try it one more time. You paying attention? You can see he tries to run. He picks up his arms like he's gonna go run across the stage. He's gonna show off in front of all these people. Look how physically fit I really am. Look how physically fit I'm really not. What's up, Ben Frail? Good to see you. Glad you're here. If you haven't, please hit that subscription button for me, and hit that like button as if you can. Did you see him falling up the steps on Air Force One? Yes, several times. He's had several issues with just doing that, walking, running, climbing steps. All those little basic things that you kind of learn, as you're growing up as a kid. And he's 80 years old. This is a hard fall. This is a hard fall when it comes down to it. The look on the guy's face, on the Secret Service member that actually picks him up, the look on his face at the very end there really seriously tells you a lot. It tells you a lot. He looks back, look at his face, like disbelief. He's like, yeah, okay, let's go blame it on that. Blame it on something that is not, exactly true. That look on his face of disbelief after that point. Little thin lips, look of disbelief that that's exactly what happened. You frail old piece of crap. Are you sure you want to actually, have him come back for another 4 years? Are we sure about that? Are we really seriously sure that's what we really want to do? Is allow this guy to actually continue to do that? Mom fell last year and she looked like Carrie. Her head split. She must have some sort of Alzheimer's. Has to be with slurred speech, memory loss, and loss of balance. Yeah. I hear you. I remember my grandma falling in her 80s and then sitting in a hospital after falling and breaking a hip for like 15 years. And going through all the Alzheimer's, dementia, memory loss stuff or whatever to go along with it. It really is something. It's really, really something when it comes down to it. And this old piece of crap, he's not suited for this job in any way, shape, or form. What is up, Winning Reality? Good to see you. Glad you're here. Koolfrogg, like Mike said, Jesus pushed him. Maybe that's what it's for. I saw comedians say that on YouTube. I agreed. That's funny. Good stuff, man. So, a couple people actually had something to say about his fall today. We'll kind of move on to this here. It says Tommy Lahren reaches limit after Biden blames sandbag for tumble. This is elder abuse, sad and unfair for Joe and to the country. Tommy Lahren dropped the hammer on President Joe Biden after Joe blamed the sandbag for his epic fall today during Air Force One commencement ceremony. He's fine. There was a sandbag on stage while he was shaking hands. Communications Director Ben LeBolt said. The pool report said he appeared to have tripped on a black sandbag on stage when he fell, pointed at the black sandbag, suggesting that's what he tripped on. Lahren wasn't buying it and called out Biden and his handlers for what they are doing to Biden in this great country. She said, "This is so sad and unfair to Joe and to the country. This is elder abuse." Former President Donald Trump said he did. He just fell. And what state? He actually fell down. I hope he's not hurt. The whole thing is the whole thing is crazy. Even if you have to tiptoe down a ramp at the Air Force Academy, that's not inspiring. To have Trump respond and actually say, "Well, it's not inspiring. You should tiptoe, even if you have to tiptoe down the ramp." Which we all remember. We all remember what happened with Trump, right? He was actually escorted down the ramp because he didn't want to fall. He went really slow. He knew better. He knew what he was actually, preventing himself from doing. Biden goes ahead and says, "Okay, I'm at the same place. Let's run." Boom, fall. Done. It could have been worse. He could have actually, hit his head. He could have actually broke a hip. He could have done almost anything, and then that could have been really scary. That could have been really scary because then, people move up in position, just one spot, whatever, and you'd have the likeness of Kamala Harris as your president of the United States of America because this guy wants to, uh, uh, trip and fall. It's really kind of disturbing in itself. He's seeking a second term in next year's election. Of course he is. But Biden will be 86 if he finishes a second term. I don't know why they even, he'll be 82 when he starts, if he starts a second term. He's the first octogenarian to actually be in office. And, when it comes down to it, we all know who's actually running the show. Neither one of them. It's not him. It's not Kamala Harris either. I'll say it again. Obama. It's Obama. Obama is the one. Obama is the one that actually is the one that's actually been running the show. We all can see it. We're not deaf and we're not blind. We know what's actually happening here. You know damn well what's happening. I know. Imagine Kamala. Just imagine. Just think about that. He ain't no corn pop. Anti-corn pop is a serial killer. So good. Imagine a cage match between Biden and Putin. Celebrity death match. That'd be so funny. Don't sandbag me, man. And, you guys are great. Thank y'all for being here. T3, why are you trying to scare me before bed? Well, if that doesn't scare you, here, maybe this will scare you. I know that and I know T3's heard about this because we were talking about this yesterday. I said, well, let's see if something more happens within the next day or two before we actually start bringing this up because, it seems a little weird. It seems a little strange, but oh, there it is. Suspected Russian spy whale captured off the coast of Sweden. Really? In 2000, Iran purchased a highly trained military dolphins for undisclosed purposes. And now us in, beluga whales. Beluga spy whales. Yes, you heard that. Beluga spy whales. A beluga whale that may be a Russian spy known as Vladimir recently reappeared off the coast of Sweden. According to the Daily Wire, the whale is now in the care of local authorities in the organization called One Whale, which tracks the creature. After 4 years of swimming south down the coast of Norway, Vladimir, known worldwide as the Russian spy beluga whale, is now in Swedish waters. Vladimir was first spotted in 2019 off the coast of Norway wearing a harness with a GoPro camera mounts labeled Equipment of St. Petersburg. Norwegian intelligence officials concluded that the Russian military likely trained the whale as a spy. However, Russia denied the claims despite previously seeking dolphins for training program as recently as 2016. Vladimir is a friendly, tamed, displaced, formerly captive whale who relies on humans for social interaction, said a statement from one whale. Belugas are highly social whales, and he has been living all alone the past 4 years. One whale plans to release Vladimir back into the wild beluga population near Norway. The whale is constantly vulnerable to its fame and desire for interaction with humans. Unregulated tourism resulted in injury of the whale by boat propellers and fishing hooks. Vladimir's situation remains extremely vulnerable, one as Sweden is a highly populated country, but we are very grateful Swedish authorities have quickly taken action to care for the whale, said one whale president, Rich German. The idea that Vladimir was a military asset came from the Soviet Union's military dolphin training programs. The military reportedly used the animals to find underwater mines and plant bombs. In 2000, Iran purchased the highly trained military dolphins for undisclosed purposes. Undisclosed purposes, huh? It had no purpose whatsoever. T3. Uh, right? Everybody's dying. Everybody's like, oh my lord, this is poor whales get popular with Nemo, and now they're spy material. I'm dying. If man can be a woman, whales can be spies. Baby whale do 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 do. And at check Koolfrogg, Vlad identifies as Valerie. Okay, again, my companion animals for swimming don't trigger her. Talking trash and truth for $10 says baby whale do 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 baby whale do 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 baby whale. We're Debbie a whale of a good time. I paid sing it. I did. Didn't I not sing it? Was that couldn't do it? Need to do it again. Baby whale do 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 baby whale do 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 baby whale. It's just too much. The rogue Islamic regime also purchased the beluga whale trained to either attack enemy divers with harpoons or to drag them to the surface to take them into captivity. Letter's name is a combination of Russia's word for whale, HVLA, or HVAL, and the Russian president Vladimir Putin's name. Isn't that fun? Vladimir. Was that good enough for you, T3? What's up, Shizzy Wisnot? Good to see you, brother. we're just talking about Vladimir, the spy beluga whale. Speaking of weaponized wildlife, beware of squirrels too. You know the fun one? I live up in the mountains. So there's not really like common gray or black squirrels around here. There's red fox squirrels and there's flying squirrels. I have yet to see the flying squirrel, but oh my god, it sounds like so much fun. Could you imagine me capturing a couple of them and weaponizing them? Great liquor over on that Rumble side says, "Where's my sharks with lasers?" I don't know. Talking trash and she says, waking up starts at 9 Eastern. She's correct. That is an hour later than what we had been starting. We've both been pretty much struggling to be awake and on time for 8. So we're going to try for 9. It's just an hour later. It shouldn't be too much of a hindrance on anybody, as I've been watching um, algorithms, and it looks like that should actually work itself out and be okay for a time frame. We'll still shoot for 3 or 4 hours for a show. The cute innocent whale face. How can it not be a spy? It's perfect. I mean, I guess. I guess if that's what you all want it to be, spy whales it is. Spy whales it is. It just floors me. It just floors me to actually think that that's actually a thing. We're actually pumping through this fairly quick today. I don't want to go too fast, but at the same time, if we stop a little early, I guess I can be okay with that. Weaponized squirrels are badassery. I bet. I bet. A flying squirrel army. I'll fund this. Okay. Start sending funds and we'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can do. No promises. Just we'll try. We'll try. Okay, so a little bit of wokeness that's actually going on currently. We've seen a particular person with Anheuser-Busch Bud Light cans. We've seen Levi's, Oil Filet, Maybelline, Ford, Harley Davidson. Now you got Chick-fil-A, Woke Filet. Harris Faulkner blasts Chick-fil-A CEO for amazingly crazy racist video. So this is Fox News host Harris Faulkner, again, fuck Fox News, tore into Chick-fil-A CEO after a video of him addressing alleged systemic racism by claiming he said some amazingly crazy stuff. The fast food franchise, once was a favorite on the right for its embrace of Christian values, is facing new boycott calls from conservatives similar to those from companies of Bud Light and Target over their embrace for far left woke cultural morals that appeal to the fraction of the population. During her program on Tuesday, Faulkner addressed the budding controversy. We didn't even know this existed. Watch this. Faulkner said before playing an unearthed clip of CEO Dan Cathy dated June 2020 as violence spread across the country, which is with much of it caused by leftist activists or under the guise of George Floyd's murder in Minneapolis just weeks earlier. In the video, Kathy relayed on a story about an older black man who attended a Christian revival. At the revival, in the front seat, there was an older African American man that was sitting there, and this young man got up, Kathy said, and he'd been so gripped with conviction about the racism that was in that local community on the small town of Texas that he took a shoe brush and walked over to the elderly gentleman and knelt on his knees and began to shine his shoes. The CEO then stood up with a shoe brush in his hand and walked over to a black man who was sharing the stage with him. I invite folks to put some words to action here, Kathy said as she approached and then knelt in front of the black man. And if we need to find somebody that needs to have their shoes shined. We need to go over and shine their shoes. Next, the video cuts to a segment where Kathy is seated again, saying any expression of the contrite heart begins with an apologetic heart. I think that's what our world needs to hear today. Jason Rance, a Seattle area talk radio host and Augusta Faulkner, noted there's pandering that goes on that I think is more offensive than anything else. On the one hand, I don't like the idea that we're looking for things to be offended by on the right. But on the other hand, that is the exact kind of nonsense we have to push back against. Other conservatives responded online, including Benny Johnson, who said during a podcast segment that Chick-fil-A was the biggest fraud ever pulled on American Christians. Later, during her co hosting of Outnumbered, Faulkner, who is black, brought up a video again. Chick-fil-A. Look, we played it. We played it last hour. We dug up that CEO and some pretty amazingly crazy stuff he said. But and it was offensive to many people over the weekend. That's why this story blew up, she said during the segment. People felt like, well, you brought in race and all of these things. You can get offended by a lot. But can Chick-fil-A walk the plank, continue to have the value system it has in delicious waffle fries, which are my spirit animal, and at the same time do DEI, which keeps everybody really happy in a corporate end, she asked. And if their states start mandating it, some of these companies are going to have to start doing some things they said they would never do. No, they won't. I doubt it. I really doubt that would be the case, that they would actually do such a thing. Um, to that point, Fox News itself has recently raked over the coals of conservatives after internal company materials surfaced revealing the network's own woke LGBTQ initiatives and their accommodations. But while Fox News hosts regularly push back against diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, New York City, where the network is headquartered, requires all companies to adopt such measures. So I mean, Fox in itself, to go along with all these other companies that are just deciding to actually go up and go against whatever it is that they want at any point, and it's ridiculous and very disturbing. Um, where's Winning Reality? I was wondering how he feels. Why winning? Let me feel you. What the hell? Don't forget the Navy. Yep. Harley Davidson. Yeah. Harley Davidson went ahead and they actually went and teamed up with Anheuser-Busch to do some woke stuff in themselves. Beautifully is asleep. Vans, Pumas, Converse, Timberland, all woke. Yep. It seems like almost any other brand is actually doing the same thing, just to actually go ahead and enforce their diversity, equity, and inclusion. See, I don't care. Find Chick-fil-A, but why you motherfuckers close on Sunday? Why are they closed on Sundays? Up here we don't even have a Chick-fil-A, so I mean, as far as that goes, they can go as woke as they actually want, and I really don't care. Doc Martens aren't woke yet. IDGAFGFY. I don't give a fuck. Go fuck yourself. That's so fun. But again, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, and there's people that really don't really care about it. They're just like they can look past it and be like, go as woke as you want. Go ahead and spread your diversity, equity, inclusion, just as long as you don't push it on me and make me actually do the same. I really don't care. If that's what you really feel that you need to do, go for it. Ain't you already weaponized wildlife, Koolfrogg? It's the name. Alex Jones warned us. about the gay frogs. I mean, I guess. Um, can't say I've ever even met a trans person. I worked out of the Mall of America for a few years. I had seen plenty. I've seen lots of strange, odd, ridiculous people. That's for sure. Don't bitch. It's chat interaction. Absolutely no. Who's what? Who's bitching? I don't get it. Hey, when in reality, is the rocket in your pocket? Are you just happy to see me? You two need to go get a room. Woke insomniacs. I don't give a chainsaw. Yeah, I mean, sure. Alex Jones was right about everything. Ben Farrell, yes. Over and over again, uh, conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory, it gets proven just that to be a conspiracy theory and found to be true within about 6 months to a year or so. The hate chicken isn't hateful anymore. Confused. Good idea. Yeah. Well, maybe you should, you could go hook up somewhere and, get yourself a room. Just don't take his cats. You don't need more. So if, one place being woke isn't enough for you, how about another? Here you go. Major clothing brand to donate $250K to org that wants to transition kids without parents' permission. National clothing brand Hollister. There you go. There's another one. Go for it. Yay. Freaking gross, ridiculous bullshit. Another brand of clothing. It's just like we're going to be running around naked because we're all going to be like boycott everything. National clothing brand Hollister has jumped on the world of ultra woke products. But even worse, they're openly donated to a group whose sole purpose is to target children. The company, founded in 2000, was originally focused on surf culture style, but despite the niche focus, it was always part of a national clothing chain, Abercrombie and Fitch. The company's, every time I hear Abercrombie and Fitch, that dang song pops in my head. The company's brand became a chic one for many young people. And like nearly every other national brand, Hollister has gone all in for the woke agenda with a pride collection of clothing featuring the rainbow colors of the LGBT movement. Yeah, I had to skip the one word. Oh, of course. Hollister is offering a large number of items, including one which features the likeness of famed drag queen performer RuPaul, along with the militant slogan, "Don't be sorry, be fierce." Okay. The company's latest Pride collection, though, was not merely created by its usual in-house designers. No, sir. This year, Hollister was proud to announce it is the Pride Collection website that its 2023 line was co-created by the radical child grooming activist group GLSEN. That's gays, lesbians, and straights, whatever, and entertainment. I don't know what the fuck. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's their own group that they're actually trying to create. Because gays and lesbians don't really care for all the other letters. They're trying to actually go along with something else, but then again, they're actually being just as gross and disgusting and activated as almost any other. Frogtopian Orgy Fridays. What the hell is that supposed to be? Winning reality? Not me gonna learn to sew at this rate. Damn. Yeah, right. Exactly. You might as well just learn how to actually sew, actually do some of the those basic stitches or whatever, and and grab a piece of material, start wrapping yourself up. You're going to be amazed. You're going to be amazed at the awesome uh, clothing lines that will actually come out of these um, non-woke companies to actually try helping everybody that doesn't want anything to do with those that are just that woke. Vicky T says, deal. All right. I mean, pirate costumes all around from Vicky T. Gar. Good logic screen. Matt Walsh's What's a Woman? Yeah, I seen that. I seen part of it anyway. I highly recommend it if you want to understand the subject. I watched some of it, and being that it's Matt Walsh and as brutal as he can be, and straightforward, I could imagine what exactly was all said through and through. I didn't watch that as I was actually watching the one and only Winning Reality and his goings on. That was interesting in itself as well. Um, uh, I'm gonna leave you guys' conversations to yourself. TR says, woke up this evening thinking it was Friday, confused why it wasn't. Gave night took till just now to realize it's only Thursday. Yep, it's only Thursday. It's only Thursday. 3-minute warning. There you go. Koolfrogg soloed this like a one-man relay race. Of course I did. Of course I did. That wasn't, if that wasn't enough for you, when it wasn't enough for you to go along with all that woke agenda shit, here you go. You got one more. PetSmart. PetSmart is the latest company to face backlash for the offering LGBTQ themed merchandise before the start of Pride Month with their You Are Loved collection, a donation from the trans activist group GLSEN, drew the most ire about the campaign. PetSmart announced on a website, we proudly support the LGBTQ plus community with a $200,000 donation to GLSEN. Celebrate the spirit of pride with your pet. In the press release on May 2nd, they added, this marks the 4th consecutive year PetSmart has donated to GLSEN, with contributions totaling over $600,000 to date. PetSmart is proud to elevate their voice and experiences with the LGBTQ plus community, from the associates and the pet parents we serve to members of the community and allies. Senior Vice President and Chief Merchandising Officer at PetSmart, Kristen Shane, said, our You Are Loved collection was initiated and inspired by our associate resource group team members to help pet parents and their pets celebrate the spirit of pride and share our values of inclusion and unconditional love. it just gets so bad. It's like, oh my God, no, just no. Stop it. We really seriously, you need to stop it. If you're going to show your unwavering love for your pets, what is it that you're doing with your pets? Don't scare us like that. That's disgusting. Why do you need to dress your pet in woke gear? Is your male dog gonna say, I feel like I'm a female dog? I mean, call me bitch. I mean, just like the whole thing, just like, what the fuck? Not that there's anything wrong with that. Your loved was all over the house with those gay guys. Oh my, you too in your conversation, you really got something going on. Vicky G says, I dress my pets. Yeah, but are you gonna sit there and dress your pets with rainbow stuff now? How about for your male dog, he give you something where you can tuck him away. What the fuck? I go ahead and my goldfish identifies as LGBTQX2AA++. Wow. T3 says my cats identify as assholes. That's better than what they're actually trying to allow them to claim. It's better than that. T3, my cat too. Yeah, see, Suzanne's cat also identifies as an asshole. Vicky. So Pride Month, June, is the end of the ESG's scoring year. That's why the wokeness ramps up so hard in June. Got to get the woke points in, I guess. That could that could be really a thing if you actually think about it. I never thought about it that way. We should always be nicer in the month of June. Vicky T, I don't have a male dog anymore. You jackass Koolfrogg, that was for you. Remember the Florida gay couple? Oh my lord. Yes, that one that myself and Win in Reality covered on that exclusive. Yep. I'm hearing you. Wow. Gross, disgusting. Dressing pets is already gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Just saying. Hey, Win in Reality. Good stuff, brother. I bet secretly Winning dresses up like a dog. Oh. Yeah, look at that. Right straight off the bat. Denial. He immediately just straight up denial. You lose that bet, madam. Mm-hmm. Denial, denial, denial. All right. So if all of that wasn't enough for you, we're going to kind of skirt some lines here just a little bit with some of the. I'm going to watch what I'm actually saying here with this. Here you go. Violent leftist game has masked activists beating up coof deniers and Christians. Unfortunately, the only way to deal with these selfish pieces of shit is by pulling no punches. Pulling no punches is actually the name of the game. It is available out on Steam, and you can actually see, some of the ridiculousness to go along with it, of wearing masks and whatnot. So this is a Brazilian video game developer released a self-described satirical video game featuring rainbow masked characters battering fictional disease deniers, Nintendo Life reported. Pulling No Punches, an action adventure and fighting game, was developed by an individual going by the name of Brain Dead Broccoli and published by Qbyte Interactive according to an online overview. The game follows the fictional story of global pandemic that engulfed the world and is being ignored by fanatics who do not believe that it just may be a thing. As far as that goes, it does have its own game on Steam. It is something that is not available for children because says that it is violence and whatever else in it. It is up to the main characters, four common citizens adequately protected with gloves and masks, to deal with these fanatics and solve the situation with the force of their own fists. The game features four playable characters, three women, and one muscle bound man wearing a wig, hair bows, and a skirt dubbed as Lola. When talent meets drugs. Uh-huh. Brazilian. Well, that's the same country that was far more crazy stuff in the favelas than masks. Drugs, right? Developer's name says it all. You think so? Brain dead broccoli? I mean, it could be a thing. It really could be a thing. The game feature. I'm sorry. The four masked and gloved characters work their way through hordes of stereotype fanatics, depicted as maskless, zombie-like creatures, some of whom are carrying Bibles. Oh, interesting. There you go. Let's go take them out. Remove those. Remove those people with those little Bibles, those stories that they like to go off of and believe that the world exists from. Players can grab masks for extra lives and perform super moves like essential workers or social distancing. Perform super moves with essential workers. Like what? Slide off your back. Exactly, Toybox. I'm dying in cringe. I seriously was looking through this earlier, and I'm like, I feel the need to cover this ridiculousness of such a game. Though I don't want to promote them for what it is, I still feel it's necessary to actually, still cover the topic of, of what it is. The game blames the apocalyptic setting in the abdominal and irrationally fanatic percentage of the population that decided to ignore particular measures against Koof, risking everybody else's lives, according to the introductory prologue. Unfortunately, the only way to deal with these selfless pieces of shit is by pulling no punches, it adds. So it says pulling no punches isn't a great beat 'em up, but a decent one. That's basically revenge porn for those of us who wore masks. Every enemy is a maskless fool, and this is the opening story scroll. So you can see, the abdominal and irrationally fanatic percentage of population that decided to ignore the safety measures against such protocols. Unfortunately, the only way to deal with these selfish pieces of shit is by pulling no punches. The gameplay is brutal, complete with graphic depictions of violence, blood, and pestilence. Great. You can actually get it on the Nintendo Switch if you just so happen to feel that you want to actually play it in a mobile version. Twitter users pointed out that the masked bystanders were often open activists. Oh, really? What's going on? What's going on with this picture? Anybody want to look at this picture and tell me what is wrong with the picture? I love revenge corn, but this is nuts. Yeah, right. This is T3 nuts. You sure, Torbox? You ain't got nothing to say about that? You sure? You're absolutely positive you got nothing to say about how this is rainbows and bulges. Why would you need revenge if what you did was the right thing? No, mentally challenged. Oh, how mentally challenged are these people? That's for them to know and us to maybe find out, I guess. Not sure what I'm supposed to see in this picture. The only thing I can see here are bananas. Banana words. Oh, okay. Why is the black kid so bow-legged? I have no clue. I have no clue. I don't know what you're even talking about. Toy box. Can you answer the question? Is this the new preschool textbook? Let's hope not, Ben. Let's hope not. What's Go Hagen's like everything? Does the older one have a map mask? The blue, pink, and white was supposed to be. Was that the trans colors that they actually put on those? I think that's what that was actually supposed to be. The blue, pink, and white was supposed to be the trans mask. It's the trans flag? Yeah, see? I was right. I was right. Vicky T, up the butt. LMFAO, sadly, I can answer, but my account might get wiped. Trans Ukraine flag. The older kid has a 5 o'clock shadow. Oh, it does. Weird. Offnix over on the Rumble says, Krog, if you think this is ridiculous, on Steam, if there's a message, there's a game, it's a trend. There are 51 games with the name Trump in it, 46 with Koof, and 43 with Putin. Because everybody's just like, well, this is the easiest way to actually market anything nowadays is just to go along with the ridiculous shit that's actually being pushed, and just that. Wait, shorter kid's head is on backwards. That's an interesting thought too, Vicky. It's either a deformed man pretending to be a kid or a kid taking hormones. That could be greatly the situation. They made him stand like a monkey, arms and legs bowed out. Yeah, there's just so much wrong with this picture. It's sad to actually believe that this is actually something that's actually going to be pushed as a legit game. There's a couple of choice words that are down towards the bottom there, whatever, that we'll watch ourselves on. So, according to reviews, the game is a goof militant fantasy of violently thrashing so-called science deniers, despite all the recent news that masking, vaccination, and social distancing were not helpful. I mean, which, we're not denying it. Nobody's denying it here. We're all just you're just reading the article to go along with the subject. And as far as that goes, I mean, who thinks such a thing? Come on now. Watchdog group Retraction Watch recently released a report showing that at least 330 medical research papers published throughout the pandemic faced retraction due to ethical and scientific shortcomings. Many of the papers questioned the government-approved narrative, poking holes in efficacy of all those things, including a couple different little things that we just seriously not going to actually speak of. We're not going to say those words. We're not going to do it. Not going to do it. Can't do it. Why? Because it's not something that is necessary for us to even do. We're going to watch ourselves on some of that. I may be going cross-eyed with all of my LGBT VHS's stuff on TikTok, but I'm not brainwashed enough to accept that idiocy. glad that you've actually been able to actually put yourself in that spot there, Toy Box. I'm glad that you could figure that out and not go that far. You don't see a lot of black trans kids, at least not publicized. I wonder if there's some discrimination there. That's an interesting thought in itself, to actually see if somebody would actually come up against that and just be like, no, wait a minute here. Wait a minute here. I feel violated because of this game, and go ahead and try suing Brain Dead Broccoli and Cubite Interactive. You just never know. You never know. I'm going to head out. Take care, everyone. Later, Weird Debbie. You have a good one, dear. Sleep well. Don't forget to check us out in the morning. Myself, Talking Trash and Truth, for waking up. We will be there at an hour later than we normally do. We're gonna give ourselves some sleep tonight. Remember when those koofers asked for amnesty on Twitter, and now they rejoice in beating up people? F them, and not the pleasurable way. They go self-partner itself. Oh my god. I was just looking at an article about self-partners, a bunch of women that are running around saying how much they love themselves and they'd rather self-partner. They're actually marrying themselves. I say go for it. Take those tax cuts when you go ahead. It's, if you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna play idiocy, let's make you actually play idiocy and actually do just that. Pay extra. Go for it. Night, Debbie. From Vicky. They rejoice. No, I caught you. Vicky. Those that are wondering, on the Steam side, because I actually did pull up my Steam to actually take a glance at this particular game and what it was about. And you can kind of see here there's the 4 playable characters. They all look fairly interesting in themselves, I guess. 2077, Jesus Volterra. I mean, Space Burger. Bunch of weird zombie-looking creatures wearing crosses. Go now. Why did it jump? It jumped on me. Just a lot of weird scenes. Vito. You see he's wearing a cross. I want to be safe. I don't want to actually play the sound, so I'm not going to actually do that. You can see it says $9.99. You can see it says $9.99. They're actually trying to actually market it and make money. Reviews, 358 of them are coming across. Very positive. Very positive. Uh-huh. Sure. You say so. Mimsy says, thanks, Koolfrogg, and all. Heading up myself. Good night. Good night, Mimsy. Sleep well. We'll see you in the morning, maybe, potentially. Gohagen says, mental illness isn't only embraced, it's worshipped. Yep, over and over again, worshipped, and then everything else that we should be actually maybe potentially worshiping, thinking about, is being ridiculed and pointed at and laughed at like it's gross and disturbing itself. They marry themselves? Yes, they marry themselves. Time to go gift the game to Koolfrogg. Nope. No, don't do it. Don't do it. You don't waste your money. Don't waste your money. If you want to donate here. Donate here. Don't go there. You go in there, you're not going to get. It's not going to get played. You'll waste your money. And I really will. I'll delete it. I'll delete it and make your $9.99 even worthless. Don't do it. Stop it. Don't just no. Don't do that. Anybody that has any thoughts or questions before I actually do go away for the night, please go ahead and share your thoughts now. As I am going to take off within the next moment or two. I thought I had a lot more to actually go through than what we actually did go through. I figured that I was going to actually take it past the 2 hours. I'm pretty happy with myself, and I'm kind of excited. Just kidding. I'd rather gift subs to your channel. That's a good thought. There you go. You can do that. You could totally do that. People love gifted subs. People do love those gifted subs. That's for sure. All that being said, thank you all so very, very much for being here tonight. If you haven't, please hit the like buttons or thumbs up buttons wherever you're at. Hit the share button and share them out to the communities that you enjoy the most, and let them know where you like to actually hang out. Love you all so very, very much. We will be back in the morning for a regular episode of Waking Up. Tomorrow is Friday, so it should be an open mic / game night of sorts, potentially with a guest that you've never seen before, not in this community anyway. Be excited, and we'll see what actually happens. Again, love y'all. Yeah, have a good one.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.